Today, I would like to start with a story from the Sutra on the merits of the Diamond Sutra. Once in a certain land, there lived a malevolent spirit. This spirit was incredibly powerful. He frequently caused great harm to many living beings. Moreover, regarding the place where he dwelt, no living being dared to approach or get close to it. Whenever he was displeased, even the birds flying in the sky above him would instantly fall to the ground and die. This spirit was notorious in that region, and everyone was terrified of him. At that time in India, there was a practitioner of secret mantras. His power of incantation was formidable. By reciting mantras, he could subdue many ghosts and spirits, and even powerful dragon kings. He could tame them all. This mantric yogi decided he would subdue that evil spirit. So he traveled from a very distant place and arrived at the spirit's dwelling. He began to chant mantras with great ferocity. However, the spirit shattered his head into 100 pieces. After the mantric yogi died, his master was furious when he heard the news. He thought, "My disciple has been killed today. I must go and subdue that spirit." Later, he too arrived before the spirit. Using some of his disciples' ritual implements, he continued to chant mantras directed at the spirit. But right in the middle of his chanting, the spirit instantly invaded his heart. The yogi immediately vomited blood and died. In that same region, there was a young novice monk. This novice recited the Diamond Sutra all day long. When he heard that the two yogis had been killed by the spirit, he also prepared to go and subdue him. Many of his friends tried to persuade him otherwise, saying, "You had better not go. Even the most powerful yogis could not subdue him. You certainly won't succeed. It is far too dangerous." But the novice monk did not listen to their advice. Upon arriving at the place where the spirit lived, he simply continued to recite the Diamond Sutra. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly filled the sky. Then hail began to fall and many terrifying visions appeared. Riding upon the waves of a great sea, the spirit appeared, his body as massive as a mountain. He was accompanied by a retinue holding various weapons, and they all came rushing aggressively toward the novice monk. The novice remained unperturbed, simply reciting the Diamond Sutra. The moment they heard the sound of the Diamond Sutra, the spirit's entire army fled in terror. Only the spirit himself remained. He then knelt down before the novice monk, joining his palms in prostration, begging to be accepted as a disciple. The novice asked him, "Why did you kill the two yogis?" He replied, "Because the yogis' mantras were not truly in accord with the Dharma, I was able to overpower them." The novice asked, "Then why are you so respectful before me?" He answered, "Because your power is so great, I simply cannot overcome it. Therefore, I have no choice but to be respectful towards you." Later, that spirit took refuge in the Three Jewels before the novice monk. After many people learned of the incredible merit of the Diamond Sutra, they developed great faith. They began to recite, uphold, and copy the text. This is a story from the Sutra on the merits of the Diamond Sutra. Let me tell another story from the Han region. During the Tang dynasty, there was a man named Sun, the stonemason. He recited the Diamond Sutra every single day. One day he went to work on a mountain with over 30 companions. While they were chipping away at the stone, suddenly the entire mountain collapsed. Everyone was buried inside the rubble. The other 30+ people died instantly. Later, when people looked, they felt certain that everyone must be dead. 12 years passed. Stonemason Sun's descendants went up the mountain to find his remains. They slowly dug away the rocks. To their surprise, they found Stonemason Sun sitting in a rocky crevice. He was not dead. He was sitting amidst the stones, composed and unmoving. His family considered this sight extremely rare and miraculous. They hurriedly asked, "Why are you still alive?" He replied, "I don't know myself what happened." His family asked again, "You have been here for 12 years. Aren't you hungry? Did you eat anything?" He said, "I found an oil cake. After I ate that oil cake, it seems I haven't felt hungry up until now." Then he continued, "Is the Diamond Sutra I used to recite still there?" His family told him it was. When they returned and looked inside the text of the Diamond Sutra, there was a mark resembling an oil cake. Later, people called this sutra the Sutra of Inconceivable Merit. It is said to have still existed at the end of the Tang dynasty. By the Song dynasty, it was regarded as a cultural relic and kept in the national treasury. There are such accounts. In any case, the Diamond Sutra truly possesses inconceivable merit. Otherwise, how could this sutra spread from India to the Han and Tibetan regions and be transmitted for over 1,000 years? The stories we discuss every day cover many different dynasties, and they are all based on actual records. It is impossible that so many people were lying. Once, while I was reading the Diamond Sutra, someone called me and said, "My wife is pregnant, but I really want a son. What should I do now?" I said, "Then recite the Diamond Sutra 7 times. Yesterday he called to say, "Thank you very much. After I recited the Diamond Sutra 7 times, my wish has been fulfilled." So, whether for the deceased or the living, the Diamond Sutra brings great merit. Now, let us begin explaining the Vajra Prajna Paramita Sutra. According to the translation by Kumarajiva, the Diamond Sutra can be divided into 32 chapters, or using a traditional structural analysis often employed since the Tang dynasty, it is divided into good in the beginning, the title, good in the middle, the sutra's meaning, and good in the end, the conclusion. We analyze it using this 3-part framework. This is also how Tibetan Buddhism explains the Shastras, treatises. Yesterday we already finished the good in the beginning. Now we have reached good in the middle. The good in the middle can also be divided into several aspects. Let us continue from where we left off yesterday. Thus have I heard, at one time the Buddha was in the kingdom of Shravasti, in the Jeta Grove, Anathapindika's park, together with a great assembly of bhikshus, 1,250 in all. According to Tibetan Buddhism, this passage describes the 5 perfections. The perfection of place is Anathapindika's park. The perfection of time is at one time, after Shakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment. The perfection of retinue is the 1,250 bhikshus. The perfection of Dharma is the profound meaning of the Diamond Sutra. The perfection of the teacher is the guide of the 3 realms, Shakyamuni Buddha. So the 5 perfections are expounded here. In the commentary on the Ornament of Clear Realization, it is stated that Shravasti was one of the 6 great cities of India, ruled by King Prasenajit. The other 5 great cities included Varanasi, Vaishali, and so on. In Shravasti, there was an elder named Anathapindika. He wished to invite Shakyamuni Buddha to give teachings. He wanted to offer a place to the Buddha, so he planned to buy the garden of Prince Jeta. At that time, the prince did not want to sell, so he joked with him, saying, "If you can cover the entire ground with gold, I will agree to sell it to you." Because Anathapindika had been a patron for 6 Buddhas in his past lives, he possessed extremely supreme merit. In this life he could see treasures hidden underground and could turn ordinary earth and stone into gold. In the end, Anathapindika truly covered that entire place completely with gold. Only a small piece of land remained uncovered. Prince Jeta was moved by this. He said, "Since you are making this offering to Shakyamuni Buddha, you do not need to cover this remaining part with pure gold. Count this land and the trees in the garden as my contribution. Let us build a temple hall together." Thus, this place is called Jeta Grove and Anathapindika's Park. Later, the benefactor Anathapindika invited celestial beings and built a magnificent temple hall here, offering it to Shakyamuni Buddha. However, this grove has now become a barren wasteland. There are no cities or monasteries there anymore. When His Holiness visited India in 1990 one afternoon, as the sun was about to set, we went on a pilgrimage to this vihara. At that time we were in a rush, so we didn't stay long at any one place. If there is an opportunity in the future, I would like to go back and visit them all again at a slower pace. Back then it seems we only stayed at the Jeta Grove for 2 or 3 hours. In the current Jeta Grove it seems only a boundary line remains. Apart from that, there is nothing left now. This is also the holy site where Shakyamuni Buddha displayed various miracles and subdued the 6 non-Buddhist teachers. Therefore, the blessings of this place are immense. To commemorate the Buddha's subduing of the 6 non-Buddhist teachers, every year during the month of miracles from the 1st to the 15th, a Grand Dharma assembly is held in Lhasa. Our academy also holds the Vidyadhara assembly during these 15 days. As we just mentioned, the Jeta Grove is the place where the Buddha expounded the Diamond Sutra, together with a great assembly of bhikshus, 1,250 in all. In the Tibetan translations and the translation by Master Yijing, besides the 1,250 bhikshus, it is mentioned that there were also many great bodhisattvas. However, they are not mentioned in the translations by Kumarajiva and Master Xuanzang. It is possible that they used different Sanskrit versions. I mentioned this yesterday as well. There are many differences among the various Sanskrit versions. Just like the verses of the Way of the Bodhisattva, some say there are 1,000 verses, some say more than 1,000, and others say less than 1,000. Later, Shantideva Bodhisattva decided to establish it as 1,000 verses. So it is normal for Indian scriptures to differ in text and content. This is quite normal. We cannot arbitrarily say which is true and which is false. Personally, I believe that regarding the Sanskrit versions, the Tibetan tradition, and Master Yijing likely used the same one, while Kumarajiva and Master Xuanzang probably used another. However, there are still some discrepancies between them. Therefore, when you discover some differences, do not assume that they are mistakes. These sutras were compiled by Panditas who possessed the unforgetting Dharani, but even a Pandita's unforgetting Dharani, much like a modern tape recorder, might have slight variations, so what was recorded may differ slightly. In conclusion, this teaching is indeed very supreme and worthy of being taught. The audience of the Diamond Sutra included Hinayana bhikshus and Mahayana bodhisattvas, which indicates that this sutra belongs to the Mahayana canon. From this perspective, this constitutes the perfection of retinue. At that time, at mealtime, the world-honored one put on his robes, took up his alms bowl, and entered the great city of Shravasti to beg for food. When the large assembly had gathered before the time of the midday meal, the world-honored one arranged his robes and took up his bowl, and then went into the city to collect alms. Everyone should pay attention to this point. When we go down the mountain, whether wearing Tibetan robes or Han Chinese clothing, we must arrange our clothes properly. Look, even when Shakyamuni Buddha went into the city, he would check to see if his clothes were worn neatly. Some people wear their clothes very messily. Every time I see them, it is like seeing a Tibetan version of the monk Jigong. Although we monastics do not need to dress up to look beautiful, our clothes should be worn neatly. Whether one is a lay practitioner or a monastic, as a genuine practitioner, one should dress tidily. This is very important. Otherwise, it is easy to cause others to arise wrong views. Please be sure to keep this in mind. The Buddha had already attained complete enlightenment, yet he did not go out casually. He still put on the 3 robes and held his alms bowl. This is because going into the city is a bit different from being at home. When at home, we might not wear the monastic shawl we are wearing now, but when entering a city, we must wear it properly. Begging for food means Shakyamuni Buddha went to collect alms. However, going for alms was merely to allow sentient beings to accumulate merit and to take the opportunity to expound the Dharma to them. In reality, Shakyamuni Buddha did not need to beg for alms. The Buddha did not go out to beg just because he was particularly hungry at noon. The Tibetan version of the Golden Light Sutra states that Shakyamuni Buddha manifested the act of begging for food, but in reality he did not consume this food because the Buddha never experienced hunger. If he truly felt hunger, Shakyamuni Buddha possessed inconceivable miraculous powers. He could instantly transform stones and vegetation into food. There was absolutely no need to go and beg. Fundamentally, he had no need for alms. The ornament of clear realization also states that in the Buddha's mouth, even food with poor flavor can instantly turn into a sublime delicacy. Therefore, once Shakyamuni Buddha blesses it, even if something doesn't taste good, it immediately becomes delicious. He could also multiply a single item into a vast amount. Once, during a famine, Shakyamuni Buddha worried that Ananda, born into royalty, might not endure such hardship. So he gave Ananda a single grain of barley. That single grain sustained Ananda for 7 days without food. Ananda then felt immense faith and wonder toward Shakyamuni Buddha's inconceivable power of blessing. If only we could do that. Otherwise, cooking every day is such a hassle. As soon as noon arrives, we start wondering what to eat. Shakyamuni Buddha had also attained the Akashagarbha Samadhi. By dwelling in this Samadhi, all the wealth in the world can be perfectly obtained. So for many reasons, Shakyamuni Buddha had no need to truly beg for food. Now, some people in the world say that Shakyamuni Buddha was the king of beggars. This is a complete slander against him. Saying such things surely carries heavy negative karma. In terms of his manifestation, Shakyamuni Buddha did lead many bhikshus into the great city to collect alms, but this was only a manifestation. Shakyamuni Buddha had no self-attachment at all. Some sutras even say that the Buddha's body had no internal organs. It was like a precious pill made of pure gold, not at all like the internal organs of ordinary people. Based on the evidence from Mahayana sutras, Shakyamuni Buddha wouldn't be overcome by hunger by noon and go running into the city with a large bowl for alms. It wasn't like that. In that city, having finished his alms round in order, he returned to his place. After finishing his meal, he put away his robes and bowl, washed his feet, and sat on his prepared seat. Shakyamuni Buddha went to beg for food in the city. After receiving food in due order, he returned to his dwelling. Once the meal was finished, he began to put away his robes and wash his bowl. He then washed his feet and sat cross-legged on the cushion. With his body upright, he dwelled in mindfulness. This tradition is still practiced in Thailand today. In the morning, even before dawn, bhikshus go out barefoot with their bowls for alms. The benefactors also wake up early and wait at the intersections with food. When they see the bhikshus arriving, they are overjoyed and line up along the road to make offerings. In Thailand, alms are generally collected in the morning. Very few go out at noon. Since the bhikshus' bowls are quite large, they return with them filled to the brim. Sometimes they can't even hold everything, so they carry the bowl in one hand and a bag in the other. After finishing their breakfast, the leftovers are more than enough for lunch. Besides food, they also receive various other items, including toiletries, clothing, and so on. The custom in Thailand is to wash one's feet after eating. It is still like this today. After lunch, they begin washing their feet. When Geshe Sherab went to Thailand, the king of Thailand personally brought him water to wash his feet. On our last visit, we didn't meet the king, but some lay devotees helped pour the water. They have this tradition there. Shakyamuni Buddha did the same in the past. After finishing his meal, he washed his feet and entered meditation. When meditating, his body remained upright. Generally, when teaching, listening, or practicing, an upright posture is very important. Many people at home reading or reciting sutras tend to lean against something. This posture is quite bad. For one, it makes it easy to fall asleep. Secondly, if your subtle channels are not aligned, it will greatly affect your memory and practice. Tibetan Buddhism places great emphasis on physical posture. Whether reading or reciting sutras, your body must be upright in a cross-legged position. In the shrine hall, many can maintain an upright posture, but when you are at home, you often lean back habitually while reading or memorizing. I also have this bad habit of leaning back all the time. I will correct this in the future, and I hope you will too. From the perspective of manifestation, after Shakyamuni Buddha finished his meal, he rested briefly on his seat and remained in mindfulness. The teaching of the Diamond Sutra was about to begin.
Bandara Badna Sodargye Bandara Badna Sodargye Bandara Badna Sodargye